Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. DDG94 here, back with another reaction video. And today we finna react to You Still Wouldn't Survive 2000s Gaming. Without further ado, let's get right into it.
If you remember those midnight release lines, E3 feeling like pre-Christmas, and when Game Disc actually held the entire game, then you were probably there for what many consider the golden age of gaming back in the 2000s. I'm sure many of you remember that I've already talked about gaming back in the 2000s before, which you should check out before watching this one. However, there was so much more to it back then that I didn't even touch on in that video.
What a pain!
Stuff other than rental stores, the early online, and the hardware itself.
We would like to play.
See, back in the 2000s and before then, before the constant unfiltered connections to the corporations that we have through social media, the extra mainstream status that gaming has now, easy access, algorithms killing true discovery, and whatever is going on with Roblox right now, gaming felt a lot different. To me and many others, before it felt like a service as it does now, it was more like a constant event that we all couldn't get enough of. Between big reveals taking center stage when that was still special, instead of just a new YouTube or Twitter notification, waiting outside with a bunch of strangers at 11 p.m. for whatever title you needed as soon as it hit, looking at magazines for updates, or leaving G4 on all weekend for E3 or a big console release special. It was such a special time to live and be in love with gaming. There was this honestly Christmas-like magic to it all, and no one took it for granted as we see now. Nor did it feel like the actual corporations were taking advantage of us without actually delivering products. So today,
back then the corporations were genuine. They were genuine. They cared about us as consumers. They wanted to give us the best product. They wanted to show us that their product is better than everybody else's. The competition holds no candle to what the fuck they got going on. Back then, it used to be competitive. Now it seemed like everybody in on it. It really seemed like they all in on it now. They just sitting up there going, how are we going to piss them off this year? Well, we're going to do this. And then we're going to do that. Oh, that's amazing. That's so good. And then guess what? We're going to follow it up with this. And then we're going to follow it up with that. Oh, you're going to do that? I was going to do that. But since you did that, I guess I'm going to have to do this instead. Oh, they're going to suffer. And they're going to give us all their money because we're not trying to go broke.
Once again, I wanted to go back to the 2000s world of gaming and reminisce about a time when gaming was still experimental, special, and overall just fun. Oh, and if you like cultural lookbacks like this, then feel free to like and subscribe because that's what we do here. Now let's get on with the video.
All right, let's get it.
If you've never been to a midnight release back then, man, you really missed out.
Thursday, some excited game.
Only been to one midnight release, and that's for Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto 5. That was the only midnight release I've ever done. Other than that, I go pick the game up the next day. It was never that serious. But Grand Theft Auto 5, having my own money, shit, you couldn't tell me shit. I had to go at midnight to go get that Grand Theft Auto 5, man. Shit was a moment, man. Good times, good times.
Spent the night at Best Buy on University Drive just to get their hands on one.
Go again. I've been waiting for this forever since I first brought it up. I've been looking forward to this years.
This major staple of gaming culture began back in the late 90s and continued well into the 2010s, with certain releases still getting them today. But back then, you could go to one that felt like a party no matter the area. If there was a major interest in a game, then you can go to the night of release and just find your people. I remember back in 2015, I know, not the 2000s, when Mortal Kombat X was dropping and the entire night delivered on being the pinnacle of the midnight release experience for me. Talking to new people, hanging with friends, playing the game in a pre-release tournament, and eventually getting the game. And that game wasn't even the tip of the midnight release iceberg. If you went to absolutely any major Nintendo midnight release from the GameCube to the Nintendo Switch, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't know what it is about Nintendo, but they always know how to get the hype going.
got trashed. And I'm not talking not like, oh, a glass of red wine and I'm feeling pretty good kind of trash. Like once I found out my Wii Media Pass was good for free drinks, well, I was a poor ambassador of gaming for G4.
Especially if we're talking actual hardware or Super Smash Brothers. Pizza runs, trading friend codes, playing multiplayer games on the handhelds, and just having a good time with this little community that we weren't constantly connected to just yet. And that's not to say it wasn't huge for anything else. You ever seen footage for the Xbox, PlayStation consoles?
Circuit City in Fresno, there was a near riot actually when all the people in line were told to move to the sidewalk.
I love this.
And there was going to be a raffle to see who gets the system. Here's the funny part. Yes, for some reason, for some insane reason, someone decided to make it a race to get the tickets. And then of course that turned into Fight Night round PlayStation 3.
Call of Duty and Halo midnight releases. Those nights were lively, especially in big cities. And I can't lie, something about those events where you weren't even sure you would go home with a copy made it hit even more. Heck, that happened to me and my brother back with the Switch. And I'm sure someone went through it with the Switch too. Like I said, Nintendo midnight releases seem to never disappoint, no matter the timeline or era. The final countdown of the night, walking out of the store holding your game like it was a treasure, speed running the startup screens, and calling friends immediately asking, "You on?" All without waiting for a single preload. Chef's kiss. Now, what might have been even better than midnight releases? The actual wait for the game. Hey, hear me out. Were you there for the old Super Smash Bros. Brawl Dojo days? My God, man, sitting there checking the website daily to see exactly what was being revealed was the best. Sometimes we get a reveal of some stupid item, a stage, and the best days ever, a whole character. A few games would follow and have similar formats to this, with less celebration and less frequent updates. But back in those days before we were taking updates for granted, and before we could tag a whole company for an update online, it was a lot more major. You already see how mad people get over bad reveals during entire conferences and directs nowadays. Imagine their reaction to the reveal of the week just being a fire flower. Well, actually that wouldn't work these days because how fast news moves and how much we have at the tip of our fingertips. Back then, every screenshot mattered, and every trailer was a whole community event that people on forums would talk about for days while theorizing what was coming next. This all fueled speculation culture, fake leaks, and my favorite, playground rumors, and it was mirrored with the following Smash games pre-releases, Wii U and Ultimate.
Okay, I'm ready.
But in a world post the groundwork set by Super Smash Bros. Brawl, this came as more of an expectation than the big surprise it was back then. Just look at how people treated the additional fighters in Ultimate and 4 compared to Brawl. And the day the site crashed because the Sonic reveal back then is the icing on the cake.
You are watching Rincon 97.
The most powerful game system now has the ultimate holiday offer.
I know that ain't who I think it is. I know that ain't who I think it is.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah.
That's it.
Tennessee, come out and play.
I know that ain't who I think it is.
Tetris Worlds and Star Wars, Clone Wars, 2 months of Xbox Live and an Xbox for only what? Rated E to T. Xbox. It's good to play together.
You are now watching Rincon 97.
Speaking of that bit of mystery, anyone else miss when we didn't actually know these companies beyond seeing Major Nelson, Reggie Fils-Aimé, and Kevin Butler on YouTube, game trailers, G4, or your console dashboard? Back then, gaming companies just felt like groups of passionate people making cool things. We weren't on a 24/7 news cycle of who was being fired, what shiesty practice someone was abusing, who was shutting down entire studios, and we weren't getting too parasocial with these corporations just yet. Of course, this isn't bad because people can at least pretend to hold these companies accountable for their crap actions. Yeah, I said pretending, you know why, especially if you're planning on buying GTA 6, but we'll get to that later. But as someone that hates being exposed to every piece of news ever at all points of the day, this is one of those things I've just never enjoyed and why I'm not on social media really. It's obvious why, but knowing less about the actual industry made us love it more. There was no developer Twitter drama, no executives sharing terrible takes, no live service roadmaps every month, and no shareholder reports on your timeline to have you grow more disillusioned with an entire industry. The only interaction you had with developers were planned interviews, E3 presentations.
Every year people say the PC's dying. I mean,
why do they have to, if it's dead, they wouldn't have to keep saying that, so obviously it's not dead.
Magazines and game extras. Studios felt mythical in the time before all this. Think of how we all looked at Rare and Bungie back then, and Microsoft and PlayStation as a whole back before we saw 24/7 stupidity from both. In fact, there was only one place where it felt like we all welcomed corporate stupidity.
E3? Yeah. Some crazy moments at E3, man. That's why we miss it so much.
Yes, sir. We all welcomed any and all stupidity during what we called Christmas for gamers, E3.
I like that.
Man, this was the second best time of the year, right behind the actual holidays, and I have so many fond memories of it. E3 was a big gaming conference where all the big dogs of the industry would come together and present the shareholders and consumers to build interest and investments in upcoming projects. This meant it was where we got all the big reveals: games, consoles, peripherals, and services. If you were around and into games back then, it was religion to tune in, even for the presentations you didn't care for. EA and Ubisoft. The gaming-focused TV channel G4 literally would come through all week with coverage leading up to and during the event.
Yep.
Not only did they actually air the presentations, but the channel went full-on Avengers, with hosts from the shows Cheeks, Attack of the Show, and X-Play coming together to keep us updated on the entire thing. As a kid, me and my siblings, including my little sister who didn't even care about games that much, would spend the whole weekend in my room watching. E3 was a time when every fan just felt united and gaming was celebrated. There was just so much to enjoy. Of course, the game console and title reveals were the best, but we can't lie and say we didn't enjoy the slop too. Did any of you guys also look forward to all the embarrassing moments each year? The Kinect fiasco.
You ever wonder what the bottom of an Avatar shoe looks like? Well, bam! There it is.
Ubisoft's yearly dancing and goofy scripts. The fake online gamer talk.
Peggle 2!
But of course, E3 wasn't the only place that we got our news, because back then gaming had magazines. Yeah, when you needed your fill of monthly game news, you had your pick of the litter with these. EGM, Game Informer, Nintendo Power, PlayStation Magazine, PC Gamer, and more. All that online game journalism just doesn't hit like these. These were another part of gaming back then, just being fun.
Getting them magazines in the mail, bro, and just knowing and seeing potential games that's finna come up. And Game Informer is how I discovered Def Jam. It's when I knew that NBA Street Volume 2 was coming out. True Crimes, New York City. Yo, Saints Row, the Xbox 360, the PlayStation 3. Man, I wanted a PSP so bad. And they had a Game Informer that was dedicated to the PSP. Man, all I could do was sit there and hope and pray that one day that shit dropped down to $100 and my mama could buy it for me. Man, I wanted a PSP so bad, bruh.
Presentation, articles, and inclusions like folding maps, strategy sections, demo discs, and all that made them so awesome. And for those that couldn't afford them, well, there was always the super small pamphlets you could get. Now, you know we're going to eventually get here, because back in the 2000s, you actually owned the game that you bought. Crazy, I know. Physical media back then was exactly that, physical. We weren't buying key cards or empty discs that just download a game from PSN to your console. The entire game was on that disc, and when you got home, you put the disc in the console and instantly got to playing.
Yeah.
No extra subscription needed. I'm sure a lot of you saw what was going on with the new GTA and the cases of Xbox and PlayStation, straight up eliminating digital media from online libraries, despite consumers purchasing them in the past or not. Not to mention the constant speaking of servers shutting down or DRM limiting access to titles you're supposed to own. This wasn't the case back then. Unless you're on Steam, you have to work around sharing that digital media. Like with PlayStation, if you want to let a buddy play one of your games, it has to be legit scheduled like you're on the clock. But back in the PS2 games, we were lending, selling, trading, and renting games 24/7. That was its whole friend group schoolyard economy back then, even when it resulted in someone never returning your game.
Yep.
Regardless, that physical copy was yours. But today, that's almost never the case, seeing how those discs are many times just for show. With GTA 6 setting a huge precedent. Listen, if they do it, the biggest game out there, what's to stop anyone else from going full digital and basically removing ownership from consumers? And I say that as someone who mostly digital games these days. I mean, my toy collection is too big for me to collect games too. But to my brother who's huge on physical media, it's not looking good. And the problem isn't that games or gaming is getting worse, because in all regards, it's getting better. Games are still experimental. We've got more games than we can even think to play thanks to indies going mainstream and becoming more accessible. Online is better, accessibility is at an all-time high, and the industry is thriving in many ways. But to me, a vast bit of gaming has transformed from products and events into ecosystems and services that constantly rear their ugly heads over what made and still makes it all enjoyable. The 2000s felt magical because companies were still figuring out what games could become. Players owned what they bought, and every major release felt like the center of the universe for a few days. And honestly, I think a lot of us missed this sense of connection that came with it all. There was this genuine bond that you felt with other people who loved the same hobby before gaming became the biggest entertainment industry on the planet. It felt like less consuming content and more like being a part of something.
Yep.
Gaming today is bigger, more accessible, and in many ways better than it's ever been. But man, there was something special about growing up during that era that I don't think we'll ever get back.
Nah.
But what do you think? Was gaming really better back then? What were your favorite experiences from
Gaming was 10 times better back then because the companies that made the games actually gave a damn. Once upon a time, EA actually gave a damn about the consumer. I know it's hard to believe, but they did. 2K always loved giving the consumer the best. They try to make their games cheaper. Believe it or not, I know, right? It's crazy, right? I know it sounds like it sounds like a fictional world, but back then EA used to actually care about giving people their game, giving you good quality games. 2K wanted to give you the best value for games, pretty much making them cheap. Yeah, they used to pop out and make some 2Ks $20 sometimes, man. I know it's it's weird hearing that, considering where both companies are today, but back then they used to actually give a damn. And now they're far removed from what they used to be. And it's all your fault. Same thing with Sony. Sony used to be so involved with gamers, and for some odd reason, they just lost the plot, bruh.
What is that?
It's a shame, man. It's a shame where we at with this, but hey, it is what it is, though. But anyways, though, that's just gonna about do it for this one. Most definitely, man. The 2000s were a different time, man. You just had to be there. The PlayStation 2, at OG Xbox, GameCube era will never be topped in any way, shape, or form. I stand on that. I know a lot of y'all youngins that didn't experience that. Y'all think that what y'all getting today is the norm, and you try to claim that it's better. It's not, bro. It's not. They used to, the gaming companies back then used to give a damn about the consumer, bro. They wanted you to play the game so bad, bro. They would wait like 5 months to 5 to 6 months after the game came out, and then try to lower the price and be like, yeah, this game right here, we want to lower the price and give you more content. Come on, man. Y'all will never get that no more because these companies don't care no more. All of them sold out. Rockstar sold out. EA sold out. 2K sold out. Activision is a shell of what it used to be. Ubisoft is just straight dog shit. All the companies that used to make creative and great games back in the day, like Midway or trying to think, Midway, THQ, THQ's still around, but it's not what it used to be. THQ will never be what it used to be, and Midway don't exist no more. But hey, man, it is what it is, though. But anyway, so that's just gonna about do it for this one. I'll see y'all in the next video. Till then, deuces.